So, we're finally back in the XK8 after what feels like so long. I can't tell you how good it feels to be sat back in this seat again, and it's such a nice place to sit that I realise now why I bought the car in the first place. As you know, I've had a fair bit of work done to this car, and I'm going to go through in this video what I've had done and crucially how much it cost me. So the first thing that I should mention is that I had a slight leak in my gearbox that was due to an electrical connector, and that was weeping slightly and letting some of the gearbox oil out. So that was sent off to a ZF gearbox specialist who replaced the faulty connector and also serviced the gearbox as well, so changed oil, etc. And since having it back, I can tell you that the shifts are quicker and smoother than they were previously, something which I hadn't really noticed because the car, well, was new to me, so I didn't know how good it could have been, but certainly it does feel a lot better now. But one thing that I did notice when I got the car back, to my surprise, that once I was driving it for a while, I noticed that I'd actually lost sport mode and manual selection of gears. So I was a bit worried that the actual work I'd had done on this car had somehow broken it. But actually, after running it for a while and turning it off and on and stuff, it came back. And looking at the forums and things, it must have been due to the fact that for a couple of months this car was hardly used and potentially low battery voltage causing my electrical gremlins there. So the symptoms were no manual selection of gears, no sport mode, and actually the gear selector for park, drive, neutral, etc. Were flashing. No engine light or anything displayed on the main dashboard display. It was purely just on the gear selector. So I hope it was just a low voltage thing, and using the car will keep that at bay, that particular problem. But yeah, I mean, the other thing, it could be like a bad connection or potentially electronics inside that gear selector giving up. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels like it's working fine now, and hopefully low voltage is the cause of my issue. I mean, a lot of the electrical problems people say they have with their XK8s are due to poor battery voltage and that kind of thing, so I'm not too worried. But the main bulk of the work that I've had done was in the body, so I'll pull over and I'll take you through those one by one. Okay, so having pulled over, I can talk about some of the bits I had done. So one of the first bits to talk about, and something which I hadn't previously mentioned in another video, was actually this driver's B pillar. So down here there was actually a circular patch of what looked like defective paint or corrosion or whatever that was starting to come through. Now, one of the things I noticed before taking it to the paint shop was actually this sticker, if you look at it, has got green paint around the edges. Now this was actually there before I took it to the paint shop, which indicated that this area had seen some work previously. And actually I wonder whether that corrosion was because of either some sort of contamination during a previous paint job or something like that. It certainly didn't seem to fit in with the condition of the rest of the car in this area. But that was sanded down and repaired, and actually I think the repairs extended to near the sill here. And hopefully that's all been made good now. So I'll carry on working around the car, telling you about the bits I've done. So the next thing, and the most major parts, and it's kind of difficult to see with the sort of rain and things that have come onto the car here, is actually the rear wings. So in previous videos I'd shown corrosion all along this edge, and that extended all the way down to near where the bumper starts, and that's all been cut out and replaced with new metal. I'll flash up some images now of the kind of work that was done at the body shop, letting in the new metal, welding in new pieces, etc., and making it good. And this was the same on both sides, and I think they've done a reasonably good job on this. I mean, certainly you can't tell where the new metal's been put in, and the paintwork looks identical to the rest of the car, so you really can't tell where they've sprayed it, which is exactly what I wanted, and it doesn't even look like it's had work done, which is excellent. So as I said, that's on both sides of the car. The next part of the work I had done was actually on these rear seams here, and you can barely see them now, and that's because they're all freshly painted and body colour and everything. But previously what happened is that I think over time either corrosion or maybe even flex of the body had caused the paint to crack. There wasn't actually any visible rust, but you don't really know what's going on behind these sort of joins and things, but certainly now it's barely even noticeable on the car, whereas before it was quite a prominent line. And that's actually on both sides, so that's the other side. They had to remove the bumper to do that, which is actually quite a big job, but it looks pretty decent. So that, coupled with the rear wings, was essentially the rear of the car. Now to the front. Okay, so now we're at the front of the car, and this was the final piece of work, I think, from memory, that I had done, and that was actually to respray both front wings. Noticeably, when I got the car, there was actually a scratch that ran from here across the door. Barely noticeable unless you're washing it, but kind of a hairline scratch that was bothering me, and that's completely gone now. The other thing that was noticeable was on the front wing here, where it meets the bumper. It was actually corroded just above the wing here, and now that is gone. But I think what has happened is that if you actually look at the wing compared to the bumper, I'm wondering now whether the bumper's had some work in the past, because you can see how the condition of the paint is a little bit flat on the bumper compared to my freshly sprayed wing. Now that isn't the case with the rear bumper, and so I wonder if the car has had a spray on the front at some point, and it's more noticeable now that the wing's freshly painted, that the actual bumper looks a little bit dull in comparison. I wonder if that's further compounded by these little marks on these bumper blades, where you can see some green paint down here. Now I just thought these were just damage or something, but it kind of indicates that the front has been sprayed at some point. So yeah, I mean, I didn't get this bumper sprayed at the body shop where I've just taken it, but yeah, I guess that's something I need to address maybe next year or the year after. There's no urgent rush, it's just a very slight cosmetic thing, but you can see how they've blended in the wing with the bonnet, and that actually looks very good. It's only really the bumper that sort of shows any difference in paint. And again, the bonnet is somewhere which it's nice, but it has got a few sort of stone chips on it, so we'll have to see if I can get that done at some point. But yeah, overall really pleased to have it back. I think it looks sort of $1 million now, rather than, you know, slightly rusty at the back where it did previously, and I hope you agree, because I think it looks ace. But yeah, let's have a rundown of how much all of this actually cost. Okay, so back inside the car and pulled out my slightly soggy receipt for all the work I've had done. It was raining when I picked the car up, and I'll go through the prices for the various items. So first of all was the automatic transmission service, including socket oil seal, which is the electrical socket I was talking about. That was £375. Cut out corroded rear wing arch, weld in new panel, and fabricate metal sections between arch and rear sill and wing, both sides, and that was $550 a side, resulting in a £1,100 bill. To treat and repair and paint the driver's side B post, that panel by that sticker that I was talking about, that was £175. Each front wing, to repair corrosion in both front wings and paint it and blend it in with the existing paintwork, that was £225 a side, so that was £450 in total. And then the seams at the rear, so that rear scuttle panel, and to sort of fix that and paint it, was £225. So the labour, so that's all the labour there, and paint actually, was £2,325. But also there was some parts. So the rear wing panels themselves were about £100 each, and there was some postage there, so that was £209.50 for both of the rear like repair panels for the rear wings wheel arches. So that gives us a subtotal of £2,534, add VAT at £506, and that ends up as £3,041.40. So that's the grand total to have that work done. And I did say to myself, if I got change from £3,000, I'd be happy. And so we're slightly over there, but I am happy with the work, and I think in the long run it's worth doing it. In a previous video, I had stated that you could probably leverage sort of economy of scale and do a respray for probably not an awful lot more, maybe double the price, maybe slightly less, maybe like 5,500, 5,000 potentially. I don't know how much it costs to respray this size of car to a good standard, and do sort of the rust repairs, etc. But I didn't have 5,500 to spend on this car at this particular moment in time. But yeah, maybe in the future that will need to be done at some point. But yeah, that's how much it costs, and I am really happy. So that means that this car now doesn't have any visible corrosion on the outside. It looks great. There are some like small bits that I probably still need to get done next year, so bonnet, front bumper being the main things, but I'll probably leave that until after I've sorted out the headlining, so that's kind of next on my list. So yeah, that's it. I'm just going to enjoy this car now for a little while. I've got some exciting stuff planned over the winter, so hope you stay tuned to my channel, and yeah, I look forward to bringing you more XK8 related content in the very near future. So thanks for watching, and see you later. Bye.